Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. Welcome to week 2 of Tech Means Business, brought to you by the Mentor Me Collective. I'm so excited for what we have to talk about today. We are going to be talking about Operations 101, all things operations. So, thank you for tuning in. Drop some emojis in the chat. Let us know where you're coming from, and we're excited to get to it. So yeah, just for an intro, my name is Kiara, and by day I'm a BI analyst, and for the Mentor Me Collective, I am a event content creator, and I'll be your host today. So yes, excited to get into Operations 101. So if you could take a moment to share this great session with your friend, we're going to get into it. It's going to be very interactive. Just to preface, we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We are going to get a lot of the people in the audience to interact and ask questions. So please share and be thinking of some good questions because we do want you to be a part of this. So yes, we are celebrating Financial Literacy Month with some of the greatest Black technologists. We want to take a moment to shout out all of our mentors who have been joining us going into these one-on-one sessions and sharing all of their expertise with us. We really appreciate your time. So I'm going to get into some housekeeping, but let me know in the chat, why did you come and what are you looking forward to most about this session? And also, where are you in your journey? Just starting out in a boot camp or growing and glowing in your career? So basically, we're currently live, and if you're watching the rerun, you can still comment and connect with folks, but this is a great networking opportunity. So we've launched a hub. This will be the house for you. Okay, so here are some events you guys can mark on your calendar for the month of May. We're going to get into the Make a Design Accessible series. In that series, we're going to lead into learning the foundation of design client-facing applications and enterprise tools, user research techniques, designing your portfolio, fundamentals of accessories design, and more. Another event in May we have is Defying All Odds, brought to you for Accessibility Awareness Month. In alignment with Accessibility Awareness Month, we've cultivated an accessibility career series titled Defying All Odds. Our audience will be introduced to various technical and non-technical spaces within tech. Our hopes are to give a general look into the lives of accessibility professionals in tech. Another event in May we have is Remote Work Week. We outside, baby. From May 29th to June 4th, we will be working together in Orlando, Florida. So tell a friend, and check out the bit.ly right there /MMC Travel if you're looking to sign up. So if you're looking for a new role, we do have a referral zone. We have companies like Zillow, Microsoft, Accenture, and more, where you can drop your resume and the job you want, and a rep from that company will refer you. I definitely have gotten some referrals dropped from me, so it's not a game. They are willing to refer you. Please tap into them. And this is how you can get there, is bit.ly /MMC-refers. So before we jump in, I want us all to meet the team who Mentor Me Collective. Get to telling you about our mentorship program. Let you know about our text reminders, our Etsy shop with some cool swag, and last but not least, our Financial Literacy Month giveaway. So meet the team. Our beautiful founder and CEO is Chanel P. She had a vision and put this together over 2 years ago, I believe, and it's really just been growing since, and we really appreciate you. Javon C. is our Chief Operations Officer, so all things ops. She has really been helping and being instrumental to putting all of these events for you together. And Dom himself, the Chief Strategy and Business Officer, also doing operations and management, people management, and really keeping the team in communication together. We really appreciate you. Our new additions, Sade is our beautiful graphic design. She puts all the graphics for the Mentor Me Collective together, and they are pretty dope. We appreciate you. Myself, event content curator. So you may catch me on the ones and twos for some upcoming events, and also just being a host and being a face of some of these events. Sharika L is our lifestyle content designer, and she puts together a lot of great devotionals for us, really to keep us as a team and a unit. And what about you? I'm sure you have a talent or a gift that you'd love to contribute to this. If you believe in the mission that we have here, for helping Latinx and folks of color get into tech, please consider joining us. So did someone say free career coaching? We are offering a 3-month program for our free mentorship with job seeking services and building technical skills. This is for anyone interested in design, engineering, data science, project management, product management, all the above. I encourage you to apply. This is an opportunity for people looking to break into tech and land a high-paying 6-figure role. And yes, it is possible. Please click on the mentorship link to become a mentee or a mentor, whichever you prefer. If you have some skills that you think you can offer mentors, please come and mentor with us. So, also, we do have text reminders. So because we have the latest and the greatest in all things text, and we have a multitude of events coming up for you all, please text MMC to 866-901-1914, so that you can stay plugged in at all times. Also, please visit our Etsy shop. Get you some swag. There's some beautiful designs and merch that we released, and exclusively for our next in tech. So yeah, I've gotten something from the shop. It's pretty dope. Check us out. What's an MMC event without a MMC giveaway? So our giveaway for this series is going to be basically, before I get into what we're giving away, here's what you have to do to get entered into the giveaway. Attend all the sessions, bring a friend, share it, grab your pen and paper, take notes, because we want to know that you're learning. Connect with all of us on social medias, Mentor Me Collective on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and complete our online quiz. So we have a QR code to also take a picture at our selfie booth. Again, like I said, take some notes, show us that you're learning, follow us, tag us on social media, show us that you're interacting with the sessions, and get our live text updates. So text MMC to 866-901-1914. Here's some lovely photos at the photo booth. I took one too, but these beautiful faces, just to show us that you're interacting with us. So get into that. And here's the bit.ly, the QR code, if you want to snap it real quick. So finally, our beloved giveaways are Apple AirTags. Now, believe it or not, I had to Google what these were. If you're like me and you lose your phone, I mean, I do lose my phone too, but if you lose your keys or misplace it like once a week, these are dope. A HomePod Mini, because you know we need the tunes flowing at all times. Hydrate water bottle, because I'm drinking water all day. And Nano Leaf Smart light bulbs, because we all know that light, makes you glow and makes the picture what it is. So yes, these are our giveaways. So please plug in, take notes, take a selfie, and these are some of the things we'll be giving away at the end. And who's ready for our main event? So please drop some fire emojis, some party hats, all things for our guest tonight. Let's give a very warm welcome to Alane, specializing in IT hardware operations at Pinterest.
Hey y'all, happy Monday.
What's up? Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, it's Alani.
Okay, Alani, cool. Thank you for joining us.
Of course. Y'all drop some more fire emojis. We need some energy.
Yes.
It's 6 o'clock here in New York. We need some energy, okay? I do see some of my people in the chat, so I'm not even gonna hold you. Like my people always show up. Always. So I'm
We're
happy
glad.
to be here. I appreciate you. Shout out to Chanel. This is her baby. But yeah, like for real though, please like jump in and ask me anything. Like let's just make it do what it do, but just stop me, ask me anything, tell me like talk a little more about that. Don't make me feel like I'm by myself out here. So please.
Okay. Yeah, you're definitely not alone. We want this one to be interactive, y'all. So please join into the conversation. We're just having a conversation among like-minded folks, and we have our pro, but it'll definitely be like a dialogue. So
Exactly. All right, so let's just jump in. You ready?
sounds good. Let's go.
All right, let's go. Well, y'all see that's me. I switch my hair up from time to time, but that is me. And my current job is I'm a IT. I work in IT and operations, but I actually wanted to we're gonna go back a little bit before we get started because it's all relevant to how I got to where I am now. And I would say these three companies, specifically Apple, Lyft, and Pinterest, have been very influential in my journey and my career. I worked at Apple for 10 years. And although I look like I'm in my early 20s, I'm not.
Fact.
So please respect the age. But no, I worked at Apple for 10 years. I worked at Lyft for a little less than a year. And I've been at Pinterest for 2.5 years. So the last 13 years of my life, I have worked in tech. I never intended to work in tech. I wanted to make cupcakes and cakes and design them. That was what I was going to do in my life. When I got out of high school, I was going to design cakes and cupcakes and live happily ever after. And life sent me to get a part-time job at Apple. And in being at Apple for so long, you would say, "What are you doing for 10 years at Apple?" I had 7 different jobs in a 10-year period.
Wow.
And so what I would say is I wouldn't say I was a hustler, but I definitely tried to take advantage of being in a space that I could grow. And I ended up getting a career out of just hustling to the next opportunity.
That's
And
awesome.
so I always start at Apple. I started as a greeter. Hi, welcome to the Apple. That led me to here. I will never forget where I came from and the journey and the path to get here, but I was a greeter. So never be too afraid to do something that you think is beneath you because I knew how big Apple was. At the time, the iPhone wasn't popular. There was no app store, there were no iPads, there were no iPod touches. It was just the old click wheel. But I felt in my energy that Apple is where I needed to be. Even at in my early 20s, I said, I'm about to take this job. I will be a greeter. But within that space, I took a sales role.
Mhm.
Then I worked on the business team. Then I worked on the operations team and I led a team there for 3 or 4 years. Then I said, okay, cool. I can lead. I could be a leader out here, right? The person you come in and you say, I want to talk to a manager, that was me. And then from there I said, okay, I'm ready to leave Apple, but I need something tangible to leave out of here with. So I took the role as a lead genius because
Mhm.
now I'm getting my technical certifications. And I also knew that if I wanted to get into IT, these technical certs are like degrees. So I could do it.
So at what point did you decide that you really wanted to make that pivot into like really working full time in tech?
I think I can't tell you a point. I think it just happened. And I say that because it's really about aligning yourself with a good mentor and people who can provoke you and never settling. You cannot settle. What if Michael Jordan settled? He would not be the greatest. I don't care. If you like LeBron, that's cool. But Michael Jordan would not be the greatest basketball player of all time if he settled after the first championship.
That's real.
Period. Right? So I said, I have great mentors. They're pushing me, they're encouraging me, and I'm doing the work because you
Mm.
got to do the work.
Yeah.
And I have an amazing career trajectory. So even why would I leave Apple? I always say that people ask me to this day, why did you leave? Because it's about growth.
Mm.
So I can sit here and pour into everybody. I could be an amazing mentor. I could talk to you start to finish on how to get through the Apple culture, how to get a job, how to do. But if I'm not challenged anymore in this, what am I doing? And I think some of the ways you find a mentor is asking questions, staying hungry. That's something they always talk about at Apple. I know Chanel's an Apple girl. Stay hungry. Stay hungry. Never give up. You want to find a good mentor? Find somebody who will challenge you, not someone who is gonna just tell you you're great.
Yeah.
You are
That's.
great. That's not gonna help you.
Mm-hmm.
And so literally 2 weeks before a really big interview, I put in my 2 weeks. And I'm
Before then. Oh, you had that blind faith, that undeniable faith, huh?
you have to. You have to bet on yourself. I'm a woman and I'm black. I already
Mm-hmm.
have two strikes against me, but I do have faith in a belief system, and I do believe that when one door shuts, another door will open for you.
Yes.
So I'm not ever going to. Y'all see the lights just went out. I'm in a conference room, but I'm never going to forget my foundation and my belief system. And so, in order for me, I'll walk away from this because I know
Yeah.
that there's something better for me, and I'm gonna bet on me every time. And so I
Wow.
went to Lyft. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Since we sharing, we family now. For me, day one. But it actually, I learned so much. But the thing that I want to tell y'all is you got to know when it's time to end a relationship, a
Mm.
job, a friendship. It's okay to walk away from things that do not suit you.
Nah.
So after 6 months, they offered my whole team a severance. Look at that. And I come from a community where you don't take nothing, you don't leave a job without a job.
Mm.
You better not. Don't you do it. And I said, I've never done this before. I'm coming off this 10-year run at Apple. How I cannot. 10 years, I cannot just 6 months later, I'm going to look like a failure.
Yes. Oh my
But you
God.
know what? I didn't care. I took my severance and I took 6 months off. And now, because of all this experience at Apple, I've worked in operations at Lyft. Now I've got the tech background plus an operations background. I didn't know what path I wanted to take, and that is another point. Make sure that you align yourself up with people who can talk to you about your career, who can encourage you, your peers, people who can also be mentors. I was talking to one of my friends. My friend, her name is Dom. She works at a tech company, and I was like, I don't know what path I should go. Like, should I go operations? But I got these technical certifications. But at the end of the day, it just gives you options, right?
Yeah.
And so as I started to get past this 6 month period of time I had given myself, I'm starting to get close to 6 months. And because I have been such a workaholic, I started to feel a little failure, a little self-doubt creep into my energy about you ain't got no job. Now it don't matter that I got 10 years under my belt or that I got a severance. I felt like a failure because let's be honest, our sometimes your self-worth can be in a job. That's the lesson
Entirely.
I learned, right? So I had said, I'm going to the Bahamas with my homegirls. We're going to the Bahamas. I'm not going to look at LinkedIn.
Uh,
I'm not gonna stress about this job. I said I'm gonna turn it off on the phone and I'm gonna revisit this when we come back. Y'all know I didn't do that. I got on that airplane and started looking at jobs. And that is where I found this Pinterest role. And now when I tell y'all this Pinterest role had been posted for 2 hours. And I was like, this is my job. My friend, she's on here right now. I see her in the chats. I told her, I said, this is about to be my job. It was
yeah.
IT and operations, which are the two things that I wanted to do.
Mm,
And guess what? I reached out to the person who posted the job. When you want something and you want it bad enough, you are going to go after what you want. Do not sit on the sidelines and wait for somebody to say, hey, Chanel, you want this job? We
yeah.
want to offer you a job. Or you're going to say, I'm going to go get this job. And I actually did end up getting this job. This is a job I have now.
Wow. Congrats.
So that's why I always say these three companies helped really change the trajectory of my life. Because even though Lyft didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to be, there is always a silver lining in everything because it taught me about it's okay to close a chapter. I am not my parents who work at a place for 30 years. And I don't, if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. If you feel
Yeah.
that you need a change, be brave enough to go and claim your change.
Yeah.
So that's where I will start, y'all. That is where I came from. And so, real brief, I wanted to just talk about the traditional path versus your path. And I say this because I'll share my experience. The traditional path is you go to high school, you go to college, you get married, you have some kids, and then you retire and live off the retirement. That's just American culture. My path has been none of that. And sometimes you can feel like you are not doing enough
Yeah.
because you have not crossed these boxes off of some American, it ain't even my life. Okay. It's somebody else's dream. I would have never signed up for a 40-hour work week.
Facts.
Right. So
Our work week is more like more my speed. Yeah.
right. So I will always tell anybody, follow your path. What is for you is for you. What your path may be, it might be different than me. You might have me, Chanel and I, who's the CEO, we connected because I said, girl, I used to feel so inadequate because I didn't finish school. Let's keep it 100. I did not finish school. I wanted to work. But
Yeah.
I will still tell young people, go to school.
Hmm.
And if you don't go to school, find some certificates, find something that you can say, hey, I own this. This is my path, right? I didn't finish school, but I would sit in meetings and be like, oh my God, I didn't finish school. And everyone in here is a college graduate. Oh my God. And then one day I woke up and was like, and I'm at the table.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you fostered the curiosity to keep moving from position to position in Apple. So in that situation, you were still living a life of endless learning. You know.
Exactly. And so that's the thing. So I didn't have my degree, but what I did learn was operations. I learned about lean management. I learned about Six Sigma. I learned about Kaizen. Those are all huge concepts within the operations realm.
Hmm.
So, no, I did not check that one box, but I filled out another checklist, right?
Hmm.
So you cannot get your feelings tied into what America thinks that you should or shouldn't be doing. Versus, did you check the box for happiness? Are your bills paid?
Right.
Is your soul fed? Those are things that are not valuable until you're about to check out of here. So
Yeah.
that is what I would say. Pick your path, stick to your path, and believe in yourself. Do not sit around and wait or feel inadequate because maybe you didn't have the resources to go to school, or maybe you didn't, maybe your path is just different. It's okay. Be happy because the world we live in, you can make a career off of social media. It's millionaires off of TikTok. So
And,
don't trust your path.
and you said that up until right before your Pinterest role, you still were uncertain about like which direction you wanted to go. I know a lot of times people always say you need to have a plan, like, and execute this plan. So, like, who did you share that you weren't certain with? It was your mentor who kind of just helped direct you and steer the path.
I would say I don't just have one mentor.
Mm,
I think that it's important to find quality mentors, but also know that someone who might not be in your same career path could be a mentor, a peer could be a mentor. I would talk to all of my friends and say,
yeah,
I don't know what I want to do. I've never been that, I've always had a plan. Apple always allowed me to have a plan. And now here I have to step out on the skill set that I have. And so, no, I didn't know. What's my next move now? I don't know, but I'm gonna figure it out because I will bet on myself.
yeah.
I will figure it out. So that is what I would say. So just to take y'all to current present day, I lead a team of about 23 people who report to me right now. Globally, I do a lot of operations, but most important thing, yes, you can know operations. You could have a skill set. You could be able to do a lot of things. But I think the most important thing that I'm proud of is I'm a good people leader.
Mm,
If you can't lead a team, I mean, it's cool. You ever had a manager that you didn't really like, they didn't really know the job, but it was a job. But
yes.
but if you've experienced a really great leader, they can inspire you.
Mm,
And a good leader is also going to identify. I have a girl that currently works with me that I knew from Apple. And I told her when she got hired, I'm gonna give you a year and a half and then you gotta get out of here. Why? Because she's super talented. And a good leader is going to be able to identify talent,
yeah,
cultivate talent, lead talent, and also inspire people to move on to get your bag.
yeah. That's awesome. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So get your money, y'all. Um, and then one thing that is super important for me is to be able to create belonging. There are not a lot of women of color in IT. In a leadership role, there's not always a lot of us, but there's not always a lot of us in a lot of places. And I think that you can harp on that. You can give that its own narrative, or you can say, all right, I may not like it, but I have a seat at the table and I can extend the table. I can make it bigger. I can bring people to the table. I can create opportunities just like what Chanel is doing, what her whole team is doing. This is creating a space, a table, an opportunity, bringing visibility that, hey, you know what? There are other women of color, other women in IT. You do not need to be an engineer to be in IT. You do not need to do a lot of things. There's non technical roles. You can work in HR, you can work in operations, you can work on the IT help desk team, you can work as a creative. This is all in tech.
Yeah,
So, what y'all are doing is creating a table for other people to see. And if you can see it, you can achieve it. And so I also happen to be, I'm working with our Black ERG here at Pinterest. I'm one of the co-presidents. And so even in that, it's how do we create a sense of belonging here when you get in tech? How can we help support your experience? How can we bring other people to the table? How can we connect with other tech companies? How can we bring the Mentor Me collective into a tech company?
Right.
So me, I've always felt like my work Slack says lift as you climb. I don't ever want to forget that I was a greeter at Apple.
Mm,
You might look at me now and say, "Oh my God, you got this great job and you're doing all these things," and that's cool. But stood on a lot of people's shoulders to get here,
wow.
and I have an amazing network. And in order, I feel like I would be cheating myself if I forgot where I came from. But if I also didn't create a community in the space that I have a responsibility to.
Hmm.
I'm not here to sugarcoat tech. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I worked really hard, but I worked really hard and other people worked harder before me. We're
Yeah.
working hard to create opportunities for others to walk through these doors. I don't want someone to say, "Oh, I had the same struggle. We're in the, yeah, we might be in the same struggle together, but let's work to make it easier for the next generation." That is important. So, y'all, that's all that I put on these slides. If y'all could drop some emojis, so I know y'all still out there. If y'all
That
have
was
any
cool.
questions, you have
Yeah,
my attention.
we definitely want to bring some people up, so we're gonna drop the link to the StreamYard. If you have questions, you can put it in the comments. But we also want to, see some people's faces and get some interactions going. Uh, but in the meantime, I do have a few questions for you. Uh, so you do people ops right now, is that right?
Yep, on an IT team.
So have you done any other types of operations, and if so, like what were the differences and what do you prefer?
I have done other operations, and that's what I was doing at Lyft, which was just real hardcore, just all operations and project management.
Oh wow.
Um, I don't have a preference because I'm gonna bet on me. I
Yeah.
like IT just because I like working in tech, but Lyft was tech too. But I do like IT operations just because I have my certs. I've fixed computers. I've done a lot of things, so I like being able to talk about techie weird resets and all these different things. So I would say IT operations. Yeah.
Yeah, so kind of like it almost feels like when you get into operations, you kind of have to have a general overview of the business, or at least if it is dissected into like biz ops or dev ops or people ops, that part of the business. Would you feel, and it sounds like you're kind of like of a jack of all trades. So is that kind of why like you've leaned into ops, just because you know a little bit about a lot of stuff?
I think that I felt that in IT to be really successful, you need to know how you need to be able to speak to the tech stuff. To be a
Hmm.
good leader, I need to be able to speak to business and projections and budgeting and contracts, right? So then there's another side of the business. Oh, but you could do all that and all your stuff could be in order, but if you're not a good leader, you won't
Yeah.
have a good team.
Mm.
So I feel like if you really want to work in operations, you need to encompass a lot of the core things that make a really successful business. You got to have the right people, you have to have your business in order, and you need to have the right people working for you.
Okay.
It's and operations is so broad. It is
Yeah.
really broad. It's like saying, it's just super broad. And but the thing about it is it can open a lot of doors for you, and there's a lot of different paths within operations. So you got to find what you like, and don't just take something because you're like, well, I want to work in operations. You can do that, but if you know you want to work in IT operations, start getting some IT certs. Brooklyn said, "What certs do you recommend?" I have, I have, God,
I
A,
saw the list on your LinkedIn.
yeah, it's on my LinkedIn, Brooklyn. Hit me up on there. ACMT. It's yeah. If you could hit me up on LinkedIn, I promise you I can send it to you. But I did make sure that I got Mac certified. That is a really big one. I like to always say like that's the big one that I would suggest if you want to get into like hardware, if you
Mm,
want to a lot of and another thing, I think somebody's asked, I don't know, maybe they didn't ask, but I'm about to tell you. There is nothing if you want to get into IT, I have a lot of friends within IT and we all came from Apple. So sometimes people say, I don't want to work in a retail store. That's cool. But there's so much value. I know how to work with people. I know how to deal with difficult people. I can speak to the hardware. Um, and I can do a lot of things because I worked in a retail store. But at the
yeah,
end of the day, I walked away with these certs and a skill set that I've been able to bypass a lot of beginner steps in IT. So don't be afraid to do something that does not seem very traditional because you need to focus on the opportunity. Man, I don't want to do this. I could tell you a lot of times I didn't want to go to work, but, but you know what your goal is and you know what you want to do, right?
sometimes you gotta get hands on and really learn about the products that you're working with. Because I'd say even there'd be great opportunity not to pivot away from operations, but if you wanted to go into user research or even product management to really get hands on with the product and really know what you're working with. So don't discount the process, you know?
Exactly. One of my friends, okay, so my friend is on here. I already mentioned her. She works in tech too. But we used to say to each other, Beyonce would go to work. So get your butt up and go to work. That I'm never gonna forget that, but that was also like why I say it's important to find your tribe, even in a
Yeah,
work environment. Be smart. Be smart. How do you stand out to become permanent? Um, don't be afraid to take a contract role. Listen, bet on yourself. If you feel like you want to take an opportunity and you know that it's a contract, that is stressful. It is very stressful to take a contract role, but there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. You bet on yourself. If you know you got a problem waking up and going to work, then let that motivate you because the contract is for 12 months, 6 months, 18 months, 2 years. Let that motivate you. But no, I'm going to take this contract and I'm going to go in here and light this place up. They're
yeah,
not going to want to lose me. That's my mindset. It's really what mindset are you going to come in here and be stressed out, afraid to make a mistake, afraid to ask the questions? That's too stressful for me.
yeah.
I'm going to walk into a place like, I know I belong here. I'm Alani. Nice to meet you. And I'll go home and cry to my friends or my family, but y'all not about to see me sweat. So if I need to take a contract role to advance my career, are you not going to take it and not advance your career? Are you willing to be stuck?
Brooklyn said, what would Beyonce do? There's another question. What challenges have arisen from managing none to 23 at Pinterest? Was the transition hard or has it just been smooth sailing?
Man, I had to pause. Before I was a manager, I was managing people.
Mhm.
You got to show up for the role you want before you have it. So I was in roles that I did not have a title, but I was acting like I was the boss. And I know some people don't like that, but you know what? You're going to end up being the boss. So you can act like you don't have the skills, or I'm going to show you I have the skill set. So yeah, it wasn't 23 people is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And there's no badges of honor being burnt out. Remember that I told y'all that. There is no badge of honor for being burnt out, overworked, and tired.
Mhm.
So I'm not about to sit here and say, oh my God, it's just wonderful. I have to do a lot of managing my time. I have to do a lot of asking for help. I have to also be able to delegate. I'm not managing those people by myself. I have to delegate and hire other leaders to help support. So a good leader sees that they don't need to be the hero. I don't need to be the person who said, I solved everything.
Yeah. So y'all, if you want to come up on stage, have a convo with us all, we do have 20 minutes left. Please feel free. I believe the link to the StreamYard was dropped in the chat. Hey, now.
Hey, y'all, I'll be dropping it again, but we've been trying to get people to come up on stage to ask these questions. I don't know if y'all nervous or anything like that, but I'm going to ask some questions real quick and we're going to get it going, you know?
Yes, thank you.
So, Miss Helani, so then I guess like you dropped a lot of gems throughout this chat. Very thankful. I've been writing some stuff down just because your energy has been there. So then what's just in your illustrious career? What's the best piece of career advice you've ever received?
That's a good question.
Yep, we're going to get it going.
I would say the best career advice I ever received is really simple and almost kind of corny, but stay humble.
Mm.
It's simple
Snaps.
because the world we live in and how hard it is for us to get in places and to get indoors. Sometimes some people like to be the only one. Some people make it harder for others to get there. And so by staying humble, you're never going to forget the path. Let me drop another one. If y'all haven't ever read this book, it's called Ego is the Enemy. I would highly suggest that book. So yeah, stay humble. And another book, 48 Laws of Power. If anyone has been around me, I give that book away a lot. 48 Laws of Power. Rule number 1 is don't outsmart the master.
So I'm sorry. Like, I read a little bit of it. Is it like the psychology into the minds of other people? Is that really what that's about?
I mean, you put it like that, yeah.
Because I can't follow all of the rules, but it's like when he was given the rules, I could see how other people think like that.
Well, it's also like, see, the thing about it is, it's also your perspective, right? I manage people. So in order for me to be able to manage people, I want to be able to think and also be able to open my mind to expand to the way other people think. Because Dom's not going to think like me, and I'm not going to think like him. And so in order for us to be able to align, I have to be open to new ways of thinking. You ever had somebody change your outlook? I had a person change my outlook so much that here I am a year later still talking about it. Like completely like changed the trajectory of my day-to-day life. So just
from like an actual person.
An actual person.
Oh, okay.
But I'll tell y'all what she said to me. I was being hard on somebody. I had high expectations for this person. And she said, do you know their story? Do you know what they were going through when they couldn't support you the way you felt that they should be there to support you? So you're judging them based on what you think. You're judging them also based on what you think they should do. And also you don't even know what they were going through. What if they having the worst time of their life?
Yeah.
Like, man, I feel stupid.
Wow, that's powerful because I know like with your friends, we can communicate with each other and let each other know what we have the capacity for. But in a work environment, like a lot of times you don't feel comfortable with saying, I'm not, in a place to really exceed your expectations,
Yeah, and sometimes that's hard because we are also taught that you don't let your guard down in certain places. And I'm not telling nobody to do that. I'm absolutely not. So you're not going to leave here and say, I said that. What I am saying is to find your tribe. And maybe sometimes the people who you can unload to are not the people that you work with, but other people who are in the industry that are friends.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, a lot of my friends don't work in IT, but my friends who do work in IT, one of my homies, she works in a different type of IT. But you know what? When she has questions about what I do, she calls me,
Hmm.
right? And when I have questions like, walk me through this process, what are y'all doing over there? I call her.
Yeah. That's powerful.
Mm.
So before you transitioned to Lyft, you weren't in an operations role, right?
I had an operations role
You
for
did.
2 years at Apple, yeah. And I
Oh,
learned about systems, SAP. I learned about a lot of things. But yeah, I learned about lean management. I learned about Kaizen. I learned about waste. But a lot of that I learned externally, not from work, which is also why you could be self taught and still be successful. I learned that from a mentor that had nothing to do with Apple, but I took it to work and I took it in those interviews.
yeah.
I took what I learned outside to open doors for me.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, how did you showcase your expertise in operations when you finally did make the transition into it?
So the most important thing I've learned is you got to be able to speak to it. If you could do it, that's cool. But if you can't interview well, you got to be able to interview well. You got to be able to at least show that you can speak to the things that you're saying you can do. You
Right.
know, it's one look, we all know, let's keep it 100. We all know how the resume game works. I could pay somebody and they can make me look like I'm Michelle Obama, Harvard Law, all of that. You can pay for that. But you still have to go on stage and speak to the things that you said that you can do. And
Yeah.
that's where your tribe is important. Hey, I'm interviewing for this role. What do I do? How do I speak to this? Have multiple resumes for each role. Do not, I looked at a resume today, y'all, for example, and the person told me they can do what I'm looking to hire someone to do.
Hmm.
But the resume didn't show me that.
Mm.
Have, if you want to go into IT and you want to go into operations, have two different resumes. Two resumes. One for IT and one for operations.
That's true. I've had to make a few different resumes catered to a few different roles that I'm interested in. But to even get past the ATS system, like you have to have those keywords, and you have to be able to speak.
Yeah. I see that somebody asked, what's the best way to frame transferable skills and actual on the job experience in interviews? I think that I think that that's a really good question.
Hmm.
But I would say you got to be able to, sometimes you do a lot of stuff on the job that may not necessarily be in your job title or your like just what you should be doing. But it's important to always continue to write down. I have a Trello board that I use that I write all of my successes in quarter by quarter. So if you, for example, you have a specific job role, but you're working in a different function in the business, you should be writing down weekly or monthly what you're doing, what projects you worked on, was it successful or not, what were your learns, what were your opportunities. So then when you're saying, okay, what skill sets do I have? You could say, well, remember I managed the HR project. Remember I worked on the operations project. Well, look, I have HR experience and I have some operations experience. So then when you're looking for roles, you can say, all right, well, they're looking for someone in operations. Well, you have the experience. Now just cater your resume to show that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of times operations is overlooked within the IT structure as a pivotal part of the business model. Um, could you just tell us a few reasons why? Because people are looking at software engineers and data scientists and stuff, but I know it's instrumental. But can you tell us why it's
So your computer kind of froze a little bit.
Oh, okay. I'll say it again. I was
Okay.
saying that maybe it's just my perspective, but I feel like sometimes operations roles are overlooked as pivotal to the business model. For like other roles like software engineer or data science. Can you speak to why it's crucial to the business model?
Okay, so it skipped again, but I think I got enough of it. And if I don't, I'm gonna just say what I think you want me to talk about. So I think you said, I'm just gonna say it's easy to look for data science and different things. They're all crucial to the overall business. Um, but operations, IT operations, and the different roles, they all tie into the business, right? So one of the functions, for example, of the work that my team does is we make sure people have the hardware that they need when they start their role. Well, if you can't get your computer when you start your new data science job, then what is that? That's a failure. So all of these operations role the operation roles make a company function. Every role makes the company function. If you work on the sales team, you're bringing money into the company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to get caught up feeling like, oh my God, I'm not an engineer or I'm not this or that. But you can have other functions and it's still very impactful to the business.
Yeah. Um,
Brooklyn said, how do you make sure you're being your authentic self? Ooh, that's a loaded question. That's a loaded question. I think that you have to be comfortable in your skin. You have to be okay to sometimes be the only. Um, and it doesn't matter if people don't understand you or where you come from. You should still, if like I said a joke about something about a Martin reference, and nobody got it. So I sat there and explained it because y'all not about to make me feel stupid. Y'all gonna learn about Martin. Cool. That's
Humbler.
cool. So don't be afraid to, if they don't get it, so what? Maybe they'll go watch Martin and come back and tell you. So sometimes I think there's a bad stigma about teaching people things. Like, I'm go read a book. I'm not here to teach you things, but I do not agree. There are some cases where you have to be able to teach people because you're learning from people too. So. Um, yeah.
Brooklyn,
Brooklyn said, "What's your favorite thing to do for self-care?" Um,
because folks be acting like tech people robots.
I I like to do a lot of things. So I will share this with y'all. Through the pandemic, I lost 50 pounds. Which is why my Instagram is Can't Be Fat Forever, because that was personal to me. So being active has helped my mental health. Being active has helped me to lose weight. I like to brunch. I eat whatever I want still, but I work out. I have made that commitment, that lifestyle change to bettering myself. You can really be stressed out and go work out. I've never worked out and said, I don't know why I did that.
Same.
I never have. So yeah. How
Please
has
keep that.
your I will, because let me tell you, I can't gain that 50 pounds back. How has your career progression impacted your value in the workplace? Ooh, my career progression has taught me how important culture is in a workplace. I have the best manager. Now, if it all go left tomorrow, just remember I said it today. My manager understands me. He lets me work. He lets me move. I can handle my business. And in that, I can pour into my team because I can move how I need to move at work. I haven't always worked on teams like this. And so my career, I have a manager who say, get it together. You didn't handle this project. This was not good. Do
Yeah.
better. I want to see you do better. You're better than this. So I would say culture has has taught me that the value in the workplace really culture. You got to be on in a company that is aligned with your value system too.
Hmm. And would you say that that differs on different teams? Like, I know you worked on a lot of different teams at Apple's. Did you feel like on all of the teams it was a fit, or some of them was more of a fit than others culturally?
I think that even in friendships, you're going to be closer to some friends than you are than other friends. But it's really about your mindset and your approach to a manager that you might not be able to connect with well. I
Mm,
think that there's so many different leadership styles. There's people who are really people. That sounded weird. People. Okay, there's people who are people. Then there's people who are really operationally sound but may not have the people skills that you need. So when you're interviewing, you need to interview cannot settle for I just need a job. If you need a job, get your bag. But if you're interviewing for career growth, know that it's important for you to interview the company that you're interviewing as well.
yeah, that's awesome. And what would you say will be coming next for you? Maybe it's too forward, or maybe it's too soon. But where do you see your career going?
Well, see, okay, that's a good question because I'm not gonna hit y'all with the I don't know. I just got promoted, and so I feel like I haven't mastered my role.
Okay. Well, congrats on the promotion.
Thank you, but once I master it, if you master it, then you should move on. And so
Yeah.
because I feel like I haven't, and I'm really learning a lot, I'm learning a lot about contracts and agreements with vendors and other companies. I'm so green in that it's like, okay, well, I feel like I'm at ground one. So I like stage one at the very bottom, but I think that it's stay hungry, stay eager, stay willing to learn. And if you have that mentality, you're never going to settle. I don't ever want to work at another place for 10 years.
That's real. That's not the climate we're in, and like I can tell that, like you said, you've been a present, like you're present in all of your roles, so that you can really grasp what's going on and learn. And it looks like you've cultivated a life of lifelong learning, and that's really how you grow. So that's so powerful. That and betting on yourself is my
Yeah.
takeaways that I got from you. You said that enough times that I wrote it down for me. Like, okay, Kier, you need to bet on yourself.
Yeah. And one last thing that I will say to y'all, um, is I come from I have a big family. I have a big family, and sometimes your family is not just the people that you're related to by blood, but the people that I'm related to by blood all are educators. So even in that space, sometimes you can feel like, oh my God, y'all, I didn't finish this American dream. I didn't finish it. Versus saying like, okay, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm smart. I'm capable. And if I have to work a little harder because I didn't check that box, that's cool. So do not put your value in what other people think you should be doing, but take what they think that you should be doing as encouragement and let that drive you to be successful. Sometimes I was really successful because I wanted to prove people wrong, even though they weren't doubting me. It felt like it. It was myself. So I would just say, do not give up on yourself, bet on yourself, and just know you want to be the master, you want to be the boss, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. So if y'all want to connect, there's my info. And as they say, the marathon continues. So I appreciate
Thank you. Marathon life. I love that. It was so empowering. I do want to repeat the two books you said.
48 Laws of Power and
Laws of Power.
Ego is the Enemy.
Ego is the enemy. Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to check both of those out. Well, 48 hours, Laws of Power again. Please get connected. drop y'all LinkedIn. Please drop the fire emojis in the chat because this was so insightful. I learned a lot, and I really appreciate you taking the time out to speak with us all.
For sure. I
So,
appreciate y'all too.
okay, well, until next time, please tune in. Tomorrow we have another event. But y'all, let's thank our beautiful guest Alani for her time today, and we'll let y'all go. Have a great Monday.